professional? I said, well, I work as a laborer. She said, okay, you know. And
Wow.
I didn't expect to hear anything from them, you know. Several months later, I got a letter from her, that letter, and she signed it, a fellow laborer, you know.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I was working
boy.
with children doing a video, you know. I did
Yes, you're a
artistic
playwright and a
videos.
screenwriter. Yeah.
Well, I was working at Bethlehem Center, and we ran into some problems, and communicating with them, which we did kind of regularly. I happened to mention that I was working with them and the problem we had, and they sent the center a large check and signed it again, a fellow laborer.
So, Floyd, you
Yeah.
were in contact with these awesome actors, Ozzy and Ruby Davis, and even after, I mean, that was ingenious how you did approach them, and I'm so glad. But like you said, nothing is by chance.
No.
It was ordained. I
Yeah.
think that you really do that, and they were receptive. I mean, it was a time that they were receptive
Right.
to that.
Right.
That is, oh, wait a minute, I gotta find, oh my goodness. They said James C. Floyd is an elf who reinvents himself. His work is magic. It carries a universal message that is simple and direct, saying out loud the things I have felt. This is Earl Hooks, professor of the
Emeritus of the Art Department
Fisk
of
University.
Fisk. You're talking about coincidences. Brother Hooks was my mentor for many years. But the way I met him, I was at an exhibit at Fisk. I'd just gotten out of prison maybe 6 months or so. You
Wow.
know? And I was, you know, people think I have ideas, but even when I was a criminal, I still enjoyed reading and art, you know.
You know,
And so-
that was in you. That
it
was what
it
you
was
were
in me.
become.
I sort of hid it because it wasn't that acceptable with the crowd I hung out with. But I was at Fisk, and I ran into a guy I went to high school with named Ronnie Miller. Ronnie's deceased now. And we were talking. Ronnie was he was a bricklayer. I didn't know he had finished Fisk and was an artist, you know. Then we were talking, and we came up on something that Brother Hooks had done, and I said, man, this guy is like he's been in my mind, you know. And that was all, you know. And several days later, I was walking down the street, and a car pulled up and to a stop and said, I heard you were looking for me, you know. And I almost ran, you know. And I looked, I saw Ronnie driving, and he said, my name is Earl Hooks, get in the car, you know. And he's been my mentor ever since, you know. I'm going to tell you, I found that a lot of times people have to protect themselves from the public in a sense, because there's so many people who don't care anything about the person but just the title or the status.
Well, yeah.
But most people like Ozzy Davis and Earl Hooks, they are just unbelievably good people because they know what it took for them to get where they were.
And I mean, what I think is even more phenomenal and amazing, and I'm not hounding on this, I'm not pounding this, but this is part of your life and journey, that you being ex-inmate, and then some of the not so good things that you did in your past, but when you did finally choose to, like, I'm coming out of this, I'm straightening out, I'm going to let this other side come out, it looked like it drew people like Earl Hooks. And
it does. They say when you Joseph Campbell says that he calls it the pollen path, and when you're following your bliss, it's almost like you're being helped by unseen hands, and things happen that just seem really out of the ordinary, you know.
Wow.
May I share something?
Yeah.
Joe Spear and Pamela Hurst, in their newsletter, the Beatnik News, which is international now. It started here, and they live in Las Cruces. Right. Well, they serialized the manuscript that I wrote, and in this manuscript, I talk about the transformation from writing Robin instilling to poetry. And
I remember that.
Okay.
What was the title?
How Abraham Hunter learned to walk the rail. And I say that writing poetry, the planning of and the bank robbery similarity, the planning of the robbery satisfied the intellectual need.
Oh.
The execution of the robbery satisfied the need for adrenaline. The counting of the money validated me.
The act.
Right.
Validated you.
Validated me as a human being. I had accomplished something. I was relevant. I was intelligent. Right. Now I write poetry and plan a reading. Right.
Right.
Okay. I stand before an audience and do the reading. Adrenaline. Right. Okay. I get applause sometimes. Validation. So, I think that we all have a requirement within ourselves to fulfill those needs.
But that
some
was
people
an
do it through family or whatever. Huh?
That was a very interesting analogy that you did. I never would have drew it from robbing a bank to like writing poetry, but I see it. I get it. I do get it.
Right. I think that no matter what anybody does, they're trying to satisfy a deeper need than they even realize. I was talking to a kid I was working with, and I work at Cumberland Heights Treatment Center with youth. And I asked the kid, I said, how old are you? He said, I'm 16. I said, well, I'm 61. I said, if when you get to be 61, if you make it to 61, and when you do, if you are as optimistic as I am, if you feel as good about yourself as I do, then you're a success, no matter what you're doing. And that's all anybody wants. We try to get money, we try to get status, but all anybody really wants is to be able to feel good about themselves.
And feel that they have accomplished something. Like you said, not feel dumb, that they're intelligent.
Right.
That's awesome.
Well, most of us put our reality in other people's heads. What you think about me, that's what I am, And so I have to try to impress you, whether I realize it consciously or not, And I'm not saying that I don't do this to a certain extent. I have a long way to go, But I'm aware of that,
But see, I look at it that's why I like on my show to bring in positive people, because we hear the negative just instant. Instantly you hear the negative. And that's why I wanted to begin this show and to bring in people such as yourself to okay, you've had some rough times, you've been through some rough waters, but look, you made it through, and look what you're doing now. I mean, it's just awe-inspiring, or it ought to inspire some of our young people out there. And like you said, they may not hear it now.
Right.
They may not hear it now. They may not get it now. But you're telling them, look, I've been there, done that. I've been this, done that. But now, see where I'm at now. And you can make it to there, too. It's just like when you were teaching your class. Or going, I think you, like you said, going to the prisons. When you were working with the prisons, even though you had come out of prison, some don't even opt to do that. They don't want to see it. They don't want to ever look back again. But Floyd, you look back and you reach back, trying to help others to say that all is not lost because you made this mistake.
Well, I don't like certain things about the system, and I was on the inside, and so I saw how things worked. If you don't like something, you can at least try to be a part of a positive change. When I was on the board of the prison, the advisory board, I realized that it was more of a ceremonial position. The African American, the black inmates had filed a federal petition because there wasn't any programs lending themselves to that particular ethnicity. They won, and the judge let them name somebody to the board, and they named me. Okay? The inmates chose me. And I think a lot of them would say, hey man, we're going to have pool tables and swimming pools and whatever, but what
they
I
didn't
did
know the
was,
politics.
well, what I did was I got people like Professor Hooks. I got I got teachers from Austin Peay, Tennessee State, Vanderbilt, artists, dancers, singers, brought them